Have you ever used the small ones?
I have.
What for?
Believe it or not, used them anywhere. We started at about 60 metres for snapper, which I was...
What, on the 300?
On the 300, yeah, and it was mean. So
Yeah.
300, sort of like that there, 300 to 400 metres depending on the line you put on there, but we fished from snapper, then we went out to 90 metres, started Cherokee, and then believe it or not, we went out to like 150 to 180 metres and we got a small little hooker on there.
Still on the 300?
On the 300.
Ladies and gentlemen, Justin Corric. So Justin from Daiwa New Zealand popped in for a coffee this morning, and we cornered him because we wanted to talk about a space within the electric reel category that's often overlooked. Everybody knows Daiwa for their big electric reels like the Seapower 1200 that we've got here, but one thing that's not often talked about is the smaller electric reels and what they're used for, why they exist. So Justin's here to break it down for us.
For sure.
So Justin, we've got a LEOBRITZ 300 and a 500 here with us today. At Land and Sea, I know we've definitely seen an increase in this space, interest in this space. So talk to us about why there's an uplift in interest and what people are using these for.
Yeah, no, that's a good question, Cal. Like, to be honest, when first people see these reels, they actually don't gauge what they can use them for. They always just think big electric reels, pucker, bass, blue nose. That's what they associate it with. But the space that they forget about is this is the same size as a snapper reel. You know, like this 500 here, this will take 400 metres of PE5.
Yeah, and the 300 is even smaller.
Yeah, that's even smaller, and that's 400 metres of PE3. So what this now opens the realms to is the likes of elderly people that still like their fishing but just struggle a little bit with winding up. Disabilities, also injuries. Some people have wrist injuries, elbow injuries, arm injuries, amputees. Like, you name it, like, it's actually endless. And once you start looking at that, you go, okay, I can see an application for this. And as far as fish species go, like these little reels here, we're talking, most of the people are buying these for anything from snapper to reef species to Cherokee and up to pucker on these ones that we've caught as well. So like it's almost like, you know, wherever you'd fish a normal reel, you can fish these little electrics.
Yeah, and obviously people associate like the large Daiwa electric reels with, as you mentioned, pucker, blue nose, bass, all that sort of thing, which are deep water species. So like coming from a large electric reel that's deep water, what sort of depths are we looking for in these two?
Well, believe it or not, this reel here, so the LEOBRITZ 500, I was actually out with one of the guys from work and he caught a really nice pucker in almost 400 metres with this thing. He only had about 5 metres of line left, but yeah, he wrangled a pucker on this thing here. So that's the capabilities of what it can do at its max. But to be honest, we found them in their prime catching snapper and Cherokee in like around 90 metres of water, where you start getting that depth and winding by hand can be quite a pain. So yeah, so the electrics and these things here, the one thing we did realise with them real fast was actually how quick the retrieve was and how much power these things had. Like, man, we were actually blown away. We thought they might struggle on some of the fish. Man, they literally ripped them up really, really fast.
Yeah, wicked, wicked. So let's not dive too deep into it, but give us the top line specs in this thing. What sort of stopping power are we looking at?
Believe it or not, you're talking max 13 kilos on that. So like, that's a lot of drag for a little reel.
Yeah, that's a lot.
You know, anyone that's held on to anything around 10 kilos of drag, pennies and that, know that that's a lot of power. And that's one thing that we were blown away when we fished them, is that we just weren't expecting the type of power that these little reels, can put out. The other thing too is, like I said, the speed. So that thing's 190 meters per minute. Like, that is super quick.
Yeah.
So like if you sort of get a bit of a gauge.
What's that, like just over three meters a second?
Yeah, like it's cranking, man. Like the first couple of fish, to be fair, that we pulled up, you know, luckily they were Cherokee and we were keeping them, but the old eyes were bulged out. Like it came up a lot quicker and with a lot more power than we thought. And then the 500's got even more power. So you're talking 16 kilos max drag. So, you know, if you're fishing PE5, like that's a lot of stopping power. And that's why we were able to stop little pucker with these. And even this here, this is still 170 meters per minute. So it's a quick, they're both quick little reels.
Fast retrieve rates, for sure. So one thing that I've noticed about this almost immediately is the fact that everything on the reel is placed within reach of one hand. So, you know, there's the free spool lever, disengaging free spool, and then there's that throttle controller in the middle. So talk to me about like the accessibility of the reels, and I guess what you were saying before about enabling people to get back into fishing.
Yeah, for sure. Like these reels are that easy to use, and like you said, everything is literally at one thumb. So a real cool story I had is last year at the boat show, had a guy come up to me, and he was just having a conversation, and he basically started saying that, you know, he'd pretty much was given up fishing. And I said, oh, why is that? And he said, oh, it's not because he wanted to, it's just that he had a really bad shoulder, but he had really chronic arthritis in his wrists and thumb. And so he just said, look, I just can't physically wind anymore. And he likes targeting fish from sort of 50 to 90 metres from snapper to terraki. That's all he did. He didn't want pucker or anything major, but he just goes, I just can't do it anymore. So I said, look, had you ever thought of an electric reel? And so I put one of those LEOBRITZs in his hand.
This one, yeah.
And first he was blown away how light it was. And he goes, so what do I have to do? And I showed him, I said, well, everything's at your thumb, you know, out of gear, in gear, and your throttle. He came back the next day and he brought one. And then I actually saw him in the shop about 2 weeks later. And when I saw him, he purposely, you know, lined me up, and he came up and he goes, look, I just want to thank you. And I said, oh, what for? And he said, look, I honestly thought my fishing days were done. And he said, after that reel now, like he can fish. And he was just stoked. All he wanted to do was go fishing again. So it really opens it up for those people with injuries.
So one question that we get a lot is, what rod do you pair this with? Because there's obviously, with large electric reels, you've got your deep water bent butt rods that you leave in the rod holder. But what about these little things?
Yeah, like you are a bit more limited with your bigger reels, because obviously what you're targeting, so you need those gruntier rods. But believe it or not, with these here, like, you can be anywhere if you're targeting little reef species with like a little 6 kilo, you know, sort of 7 foot rod, to if you want to fish deeper, you can go to like a P3 to 5, like really good quality jig rod. And everything in between, depending on what you want to do. So it really comes down to, are you targeting, you know, reef species? Are you targeting snapper? Are you targeting terraki? Or do you want to go for some pucker? So the good thing is you can literally match it with any rod that you're wanting to do. So the best way is obviously to come into you know, you guys at Land and Sea, and just sort of say, hey, this is what I'm targeting with it, and then you're able to pair the rod to it. So you've got a really nice balanced combo, and then you've also got something that sits in your hand nicely, because the whole idea of these reels, as you can see, they're so small and powerful, you want it to be nice and comfy while it's sitting in your hand.
So often electric reels are thought of about a high price point. So what does one of these things set us back?
Believe it or not, Cal, like, you can get a setup for sort of just over $1,000, which you know, compared to some of the big sets that sort of start at 1,500 and go up to 4.5 grand. So they're actually quite well priced, sort of same price as a good quality snapper set.
All right, well, yeah, thanks Justin for coming through. I know you were only coming in for a coffee, so apologies for cornering you and getting you in front of the camera.
No, it's all good, although I've been here that long, I think it's probably now time for a beer.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you needed to refresh yourself after your little legs had to walk all the way.
It was a long walk.
Well, Justin and I are going to sit down in the coming weeks and break down the full range of Daiwa electric reels. So we'll see you in the next one.
Sure.
So Justin, just before you put me in the category of us young fellas, and I just want to understand.
Hey, whoa, don't touch me there. I got my serious face on, man.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, sorry, I missed the brief.
Wobble, wobble.
But like, we get the 5 part, where's the 11? So don't you worry.
1, 2, 3.
I've been here so long, I think I need a beer now.
Yeah.